Hey guys, just jumping in to quickly talk about some of the stuff in the new version 31 update. So to start off, let's just buy the new hero.
The store is open.
Geraldo, who is probably the coolest hero in the game. He's very interesting. So let's just jump straight into sandbox game here. So we've got Geraldo, we've got a new boss balloon, we've got this new map here. There's not very many trophy items this update because there was so much work on other stuff, but
Why,
we can
hello.
show off. Obviously, I start at level 3, but you start for Geraldo, you have a bit less items in this. You get more items in every level. Well, not every single level, but most levels. If he doesn't gain new items in the shop as he levels up, then he upgrades a bunch of old ones. So to start off, we can do some little turrets here, which stick around permanently. We've got some road spikes, we've got a little slowing totem. This pickles item here, you can pop it on any tower, and it will make it attack slower but deal more damage. The cool thing about Geraldo himself is he's kind of like the engineer, in that his main attack is considered to be his little building things rather than him. So you can pop it on him and it applies to all of them.
I've been waiting for you.
And same as this is like a little camo potion. You can give camo, and that's all it does now, but it gets upgraded later. You can do the same thing here. And now these guys, little sentries, have camo detection as well.
Why, hello.
We got this rare Quincy action figure, which you just put down. You buy it, and essentially this just gains money. So if I go to a higher round, the sell value increases. And the higher you go, the more it's worth. So you want to get it early and sell it high to get most money out of that. So let's just level up a bit. Got some other items. We can spill some glue on the track. This can go anywhere, so it's quite powerful. Sharpening stone. You can put it on any tower that has a default sharp damage attack, and it will give it extra pierce. This means that, for example, like a boomerang,
Yes, my friend.
just reset this.
Why, hello.
You can apply it to a boomerang because a boomerang is sharp by default, but if you upgrade to like red hot rangs, for example, it is no longer a sharp attack, so it loses that, and you cannot apply to it anymore.
Yes,
So that's a bit interesting.
friend.
One note there, if you get something like MIB, this doesn't stop your tower being sharp, it just allows it to pop other things. So if I have a dart monkey under my MIB, I can still give it the sharpening stone. And it'll be the same with the boomerang. So anyway, just put this guy here
Yes,
to show
my
off
friend.
this next item. So dart monkey into a super monkey. And that's essentially all this does. It lets you get cheaper super monkeys. But the really cool thing about this is that you can use the footprint of your dart monkey to now place super monkeys. So I can place 2 of these here. There's no way you'd fit 2 super monkeys there. Like the fat boys, you can barely fit 1. But if I use this on it, I can upgrade that. Let's reset our cooldowns again.
There you are.
And now I have 2 super monkeys kind of really close together.
Why,
So that's pretty
hello.
interesting. Upgrade even further.
The store is
You'll notice
open.
some of the items got upgraded there. The spikes got upgraded to even stronger spikes here.
Why, hello.
But to finish off the rest of the items, we can throw this pepper on any tower to give it a little, like, fire demon thing. This includes things like, you know, village, which I can't even fit, so let's just sell this dart monkey. Put a farm there,
Yes, my friend.
bam. Can't pop purple, but, you know, my farm can now pop non-purple things.
There you are.
Little genie lamp here. It summons a genie that kind of flies like an ace, shooting. Yeah, it's a pretty powerful little guy there.
I've been waiting
Got this
for
bottle, which will heal lives if you've lost any, but it doesn't generate lives, so you'll get a big fat 0 if you're already on max lives. But it also resets cooldowns, so that part of it is, I believe, gonna be really busted. We got rabbits here. Spawns cute little rabbits. Fantastic. Maybe they'll do something else.
you. Careful, these are fragile.
Back to the farms.
You break
Got
it.
this little fertilizer item. It can buff farms. And basically this gives them 25% extra generation and a little bonus for the lower tiers, so the lower tiers don't kind of get screwed over by percentage not being great. But this only applies to actual farms that generate like throw out bananas, so you have to go either 2, 2, 2 or top path. Top path will work with fertilizer. If you go to bank or marketplace, they cannot be fertilized.
Ah, there you are.
And to finish this off, if you hit level 20, it instantly restocks all these items. And you also unlock this Paragon Power Totem, which you basically just place these down, and the next Paragon you make gets to a higher level by sacrificing them as well as its type. So, general thing about these items, they don't last based on a duration. They are either permanent, you place them on the track. Maelstrom, mini Maelstrom little track things, I forgot to mention that. And also, some of the things get upgraded, like this Camo Potion now gives the tower extra range and bonus damage to camos. But yeah, so these last ones like this one, it lasts for a number of rounds rather than a duration, and quite a lot of rounds. It's kind of really crazy. The base form of this one in particular lasts for 10 rounds, and they get upgraded as they get higher, so they last for quite a while. And also with these counts here, you see, like the 4 out of 4, essentially you can store a maximum number of these items in stock at once. So for the turrets, it's up to 4. And if you use them all, you have to wait a number of rounds for them to replenish before you can place more again. If you're in Sandbox, you can just use the reset cooldowns button here, and it will completely refill your stock, so that's quite useful for testing these if in Sandbox if you feel like doing that. But yeah, anyway, that's pretty much the general explanation of this guy. Hopefully I didn't take too long explaining that. I haven't really gone into detail of any strategies or anything. You can have fun working that out for yourself, but there's a lot of cool things you can do there. So yeah, just have fun working that out. Let's restart this. So there's some new challenge editor features, so least cash and least tiers. These are mainly going to be used in contested territories in the future, so not too much to say on them for now, but if you go into the challenge editor, you can try out those new rules and see if you can do some interesting things. Hopefully there's some cool stuff there. Won't talk too much about any of the other stuff there. You can read the patch notes if you want to go into great detail on anything. Yes, but actually one cool thing I will mention for Steam players, the hotkey to place heroes, so let's just tell him, is U, so it brings that up, hit U, you can place your hero. Previously that's all it did, so if you already had your hero placed then it would do nothing else, but now you can use it to select and deselect your hero even without clicking it, and just bring it up instantly. This is particularly, sorry if my voice was getting interrupted by his voice just then, I don't know how loud the game is compared to me. Anyway, but this is particularly useful for Geraldo because, you know, you have to keep selecting Geraldo to get into his store.
Let me check my stock. Why, hello.
So yeah, it's kind of nice that you can just do that without having to click on him, which when you get into like late game and stuff, it can be annoying when there's a lot of other things around, you know. Yeah. Anyway, that's enough about that. Let's jump straight into the balance changes after that. No need to go into detail on any of the other things. So there's kind of cross-pathy stuff in this update, as there often is. Probably a lot of it you're not going to be too excited by, but could be interesting. It'll be up to you guys to kind of work that out and see what you think's really cool, what you think maybe isn't, I don't know. So, for starters, Dart Monkey, the long range path, just this cross path, it now also increases the lifespan. This is probably not the best tower to test on, but I'm committed now, so I'm going to stick around here. So if I put... they're kind of close, right? Yeah. Let's see, can I actually tell? No, not really, right? Okay, you can kind of tell there. So this dart, when it attacked, the darts went all the way down to like the bottom of the screen. Because when you get to 002 now, they last for a total of 35% longer. So that's like almost a third. Oh, sorry, a bit over a third. Yeah. This lifespan increase isn't particularly a massive thing in this game. Depends on the tower, but maybe it could potentially be useful for Juggernaut is the idea, because Juggernaut kind of struggles. It's very niche because it's good on some maps, but those are very few and far between, because it's just, you know, you really need to either have perfect lines which suit it, which is the hardest one, or just have a good place where you can bounce around like crazy. And this lifespan thing makes it easier for your attacks to bounce around like crazy, because, you know, if they last longer, there's a greater chance I'll hit something and bounce back again. So yeah, you get some bounces there, and as you can see, the little explosion on the Ultra Juggernaut, they also last longer from this cross path. So this probably also is not the greatest map for testing this. Maybe you could test something in like the middle here, bouncing back and forth, but not really. But yeah, so that's the sort of stuff going on there. Next one is purely the frags cross path when used in conjunction with the really big bombs and above. So essentially, if you went this path, it's because you're going for balloon impact. Really big bombs is not fantastic. And if you did go for balloon impact, there was literally no reason you would ever go anything other than attack speed, because, you know, attack speed is better single target stun, and attack speed is also better multi-target stun. Attack speed is just really, really good. So the bottom cross path now turns it into a more DPS hybrid. It's not like you still get your stuns. It's not gonna ever be competitive as a form of stun. So instead, it's gone for being more of a hybrid. So the frags, they just get really strong. They get a lot of damage, they get a lot of pierce, and yeah, essentially that's all there is to it. So if you manage to line up your frags, then they hit a lot. Also, you get twice as many frags at the higher upgrades. If you go to 402 like I am now, instead of 8 frags, you now get 16 frags, and they last for longer. As you can see, they go far out. Actually, this one. And also, if you go to the tier 5, then they just get tons of pierce. The pierce was increased from 3 to 20. So, yeah. Again, not the best map to test this out, but you can see those frags coming off. And they're juicy now. They're pretty juicy. I don't think this is going to be like a meta pick for anything. It's not super crazy, but, you know, maybe someone will work out something that I haven't thought of there. So, Glue Gunner. Just chuck this guy in. Throw some stuff down. Just general, you know, small numbers here. So the corrosive glue, it's just a little bit more corrosive. The rate of the dot tick was increased from 2.3 seconds to 2. So, you know, it's more of an even number now. And I'll just turn my volume, my sound effects down just in case that's a bit loud. But yeah, nothing crazy, right? Nothing super crazy. If you go up to the tier 3, this now gets a ceramic bonus. You know what? Just put it in the only kind of decent spot I can squeeze out on this map. Yeah. So, one shot from this, does it completely destroy ceramic? Yes, it does. So, well, I mean, not completely, but down to... Wait, does it completely? Okay, yes, completely. So it completely destroys the ceramic. It actually does that relatively well. Tier 4 is not changed there, but the Tier 5 then gets extra Moab bonus sooner. It's never been good at Moabs, it's just not a Moab thing, right? But now, at least the lower tier Moabs, you know, kind of shreds them up a little bit. Can't place a Buccaneer on this map in Sandbox, but Tier 4 Middle Path Buccaneer now got a +1 ceramic bonus on the Grape Shot. Just means the Grape Shot is basically twice as good against ceramics. This is to lead it a little bit into the late game, because all that Monkey Pirates can do is take out the Moabs, and it suffers a lot in the higher rounds when there's a lot of Moabs. Pirate Lord got a really nice buff, which made it have like massive ceramic damage, so it's kind of alright. It's still not the best thing, but it was mainly suffering due to a bad save up. So given that there's ceramic bonus here, logically put a little bit of that on the lower tier, and it should kind of help lead into doing that same role later on. Now this one, really cool one that I like. Basically, a long time ago, Sniper's night vision goggles were changed to do +2 damage to camo balloons. We now have a similar buff here. The Spy Plane allows the Monkey Ace to do +1 damage to camo balloons. You would rarely ever pick Spy Plane, the only time this was good was really like if you're doing some sort of camo challenge, you'd be better off in regular games, even if you needed camo, getting it from some other source to get a better cross path. But now if you specifically are struggling with camos, maybe Spy Plane will be a good cross path for you. It does work with the Spectre, it does work with the bombing run, it does work with the Operation Dartstorming. So the only thing it really doesn't work with is it doesn't work with the Ground Zero bomb, which no one cares about, right? The +1 damage on that, who cares? It's not gonna do anything. Someone proved me wrong by making some weird custom challenge. Anyway, and it doesn't work with like the Moab missiles that come off this, which also doesn't particularly matter. Going from 250 to like 1, whatever. It's not a big deal. Anyway, the main things that you wanted on all work there, so yeah, it's going to give you quite a big camo bonus if that's what you're looking for. Helipilot, we're getting nothing crazy here again. Basically some fixes to the logic on Razor rotors. So the kind of problem you'd see, like, no, I'm dumb, 28, always confuse those. So if this was your only camo defense for 28, it would kind of just never hit the camos. It's still not fantastic, but it actually does deal with those, you know, on pursuit just fine now. And at tier 4, actually, the main machine gun here. Okay, no, not that. So the machine gun of darts in the middle, this thing just gets a little bit of extra pierce there, just to help it clean up better. So it, you know, doesn't quite stutter so badly. This is just kind of pursuit help, right? It kind of suffers on pursuit if you don't get bigger jets. So if you get bigger jets, then wait, I totally mind blanked on what I sent there, but I was a Moab, right? But yeah, if you get the jets, then it kind of deals with it fine. But you know, either way, just a little bit of nice help there. So this one I actually really love. So Ray of Doom, it deals a massive damage bonus to the first thing that it hits. So basically, this is for the BAD. This is such an expensive tower to be terrible on the BAD, right? It just, and it was. It just couldn't deal with it on anything. And it's still, like, it's not meant to be a single target tower, but with this bonus now, as you can see, I destroyed the BAD in a I didn't even attack it straight away, and I destroyed it in a pretty small length of track. Previously, this would struggle to, like, take it out in the entire monkey meta. You could do it, but it'd be like, whatever. Anyway, so now this can actually beat round 100. So you're not gonna sell everything you have to get this monster down just to lose on round 100. And feel like, what did I just do? Okay, but yeah, so that is what that is. Also on the same path, the tier 3 laser cannon just had a bit of a pierce increase, and the cross path along with that also had a pierce increase. These are about 50%, so you know, pretty reasonable there. So the cross path itself though, Powerful Darts, which has been the pierce cross path, this now also gives projectile size to every cross path, and this is for like the key parts of those cross paths. So obviously for the base dartling, it's just the darts. For the laser, it's the size of the lasers. For the plasma accelerator, the size of the beam actually gets thicker. You won't really notice the size difference, but it does actually hit things a little bit. Okay, I'm playing on fast forward and sending pinks. That's terrible. It'll hit things like a little bit further out, like sideways than you'd think. And the focal point as well, where it aims towards, that also was bigger. Same with the Ray of Doom, the whole beam gets a bit thicker. And if you go for like Hydra rocket pods, and you get this cross path, the explosions get bigger, which is what you want there. There's no change on the bottom path because Buckshot already kind of changes the projectiles into being a bigger thing, so that's the same. But now, yes, this bottom cross path Powerful Darts now, as well as Pierce, if you're getting an upgrade, like mainly like the Ray of Doom, for example, which doesn't benefit from Pierce, you can now benefit from projectile size instead. So a bit more choice there. Onto the Wizard. Arcane Blast is just a little bit cheaper. Now, the reasoning for this is just because, you know, it buffs the default attack of the mage, which is good, but it sucks as a cross path because, like, if you go Wall of Fire, even at tier 2, so tier 1 and 2 on this Fireball and Wall of Fire, they add new attacks. They don't care about the default. Dragon's Breath, it adds a new attack. It doesn't care about the Wizard's default. Summon Phoenix, it adds an ability. Doesn't care about the default. Wizard Lord Phoenix upgrades the ability, adds a little permanent Flying Phoenix. It does not care about the default. So honestly, like a 150 wizard, it's not really any different to a 250. Arcane Blast doesn't do much. And it's similar for the bottom path because, I mean, 202, not bad, but Shimmer, it just adds like a support thing, which does not care about that. Unpopped Army, it adds a new attack, which does not care about the default. Prince of Darkness actually does somewhat. This increases the attack speed of the main attack, and it also buffs it, but depending on the graveyard. So 205 actually matters here, but it's not a big deal. The majority of the damage is not coming from that default attack still. So yeah, it's just kind of, it's mainly for those lower tiers and early on. This is only really good for this path. It didn't matter as a cross path, so, you know, just a bit cheaper. And I explained this for far too long for such a small thing, but yeah. Anyway, if the question is, like, why not buff it rather than make it cheaper? Well, that's because Guided Magic actually does matter as a cross path for all of these things. Guided Magic's good. If anything, these two should be swapped around, and maybe that will happen in future, but for now, it's just like, you know, maybe this should be a bit cheaper, just to make these lower tier strategies, you know, have a bit of a reason to grab this for something. But yeah, so Guided Magic, it adds homing and lifespan, which it does add like homing to like your Wall of Fire. It adds lifespan to your zombies as well as your Dragon's Breath and all that. So the lifespan does matter. It's not like crazy all the time, but it is noticeable, and I think it's cool. So that one matters. Onto the wizard now. off of the wizard now, sorry. Onto the super monkey. So basically, last update, the Robo Monkey's Pierce was nerfed as a bit of fallout from reworking other things. The Robo wasn't meant to be targeted at all. So that Pierce has been added back, but instead of just being added to the Robo, it has instead been added to this middle cross path to further stress this being Pierce as well as range, since no one really cares about range. You know, some people do, you know, but a lot of people are just like, range, why would I get range when I can get attack speed and Pierce? And so the Pierce has been moved officially kind of mostly out of this path and into this middle path. So Robo returns to the Pierce it did have, but also this as a cross path choice has gotten a bit better. Especially for Dark Knight, which had its Pierce lowered, and so now has to take this middle cross path to get that Pierce back. Dark Champion was kind of debatable if it was even worth getting over just spamming Dark Knights, so it didn't lose a Pierce, in fact it gained Pierce, so Dark Knight, just kind of good. If you're just stopping at the Dark Knight beforehand, you got a little bit of a harder choice if you want to get attack speed or Pierce. If you're going for like pure single target damage, obviously you always want to take your attack speed, but maybe the very large Pierce increase from this cross path now might make it more interesting in some cases as a group staller to get that knockback on everything. Onto the ninja. So this is one that I've kind of really wanted for a long time, so glad it's finally here. Oh look, my ninja's riding a kiwi. Yeah, that's the buff. The ninja now rides a kiwi. Yeah, it's pretty overpowered, to be honest. Anyway, so if you go for the Grand Saboteur, so this is really quite fun. This only applies to the tier 3 on this path. So if I have a tier 3 over here, and let's just reset the cooldown. So basically, if I use this ability now, it will buff the range and the Moab damage of all of my tier 3 middle path ninjas. So if you're doing a Shinobi setup, getting one tier 5 can actually buff your entire setup. The increased range means that during that duration they get more buff, because, you know, they have to be in range of each other to give each other that shinobi bonus. So all those ones on the outside of your group that are not getting the buff will now get more of the buff from the extra range and all the other ones. And the entire group just deals extra damage to Moabs. So, see, my range is about there. Use this. Now it's a little bit further out. If I get my Ninja Discipline, even further out. And yeah, it's not very crazy. Like, this guy here is definitely not soloing a Moab by himself. Yeah, he's not doing a great deal. But the strength for these guys is in their numbers, right? You have a ton of them. They're all attacking super fast because they're all getting that shinobi buff. It'll add up. You'll actually be able to do some pretty crazy setups there. And maybe even... I actually don't know if it applies to the Caltrops. I didn't check that. Interesting. I wonder if we can test that quickly. It'll probably be annoying to test it, so I'm not gonna waste time. Maybe it does. I have not checked that. So this is a change that's really just for ranked things, like ranked bosses. Pretty simple. This Monkey Wall Street, it now acts as a farmer. So if I place like a little thing here, the generate bananas, let's send around. See, my mouse is all the way on the left-hand side of the screen, but in the bottom right there, that Monkey Wall Street collected all the bananas from that other farm. It's a very small radius, but it's mainly for things like the Tier 5 Monkeyopolis village and stuff like that, or your key BRFs around it. You can get it to collect some high priority farms to get you that money, so you don't have to worry about potentially missing that when you're focusing on something else. So pretty simple there, but probably quite a welcome change, I would imagine. Engineer, long overdue. There's been a massive AI overhaul, bug fixes, new logic. Sentry Expert should be a lot better. You'll have to just try it and see for yourself, but it is a lot smarter. From my experience, it seems to do better. I was never really a huge Sentry Expert user myself, though, so hopefully those of you out there who were fans of Sentry Expert, please try it out and tell me if you think it's better now. It should be. In any case, in addition to the logic of it, like spawning the correct things at the right time, they're also all a lot stronger. They're just all a lot stronger. So what happens if I send around 63? It'll take a while to actually place turrets out. Can't really react to super fast rushes, but so it's starting to do all bombs and ice. Got one little crush one there. Now 4 ice. And then I put out another crush one. Now back to ice. Another all crushing ones, another ice. So yeah, it's kind of reacting a bit there. Oh, can't deal with the leads. That's unfortunate. There we go, got the leads. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. Whoop. So middle path, cleansing foam, got a bit of a price increase, but not very much, only $50. And it also gains sentries, which now send out foamy darts. So let's just get a couple of these out. Now if I send leads, they can pop leads. Their darts actually remove all properties and pop leads. So if I send regrow leads, if you don't expire, there you go. So it popped the leads and removed the regrow. It can also remove camo, but they don't see camo by default, so you have to give them some form of camo detection. Geraldo can do that, so go and try that out maybe. Bottom path foam. So the problem with bottom path stalling on the engineer was that it only applied if it popped a layer. So now the foam, if you get the foam cross of the pin, this will actually just slow things on hit, as well as removing properties. So they get hit and they get slowed for a while. So that's pretty cool. Maybe you can use it for a bit of slowing there. Also, Ultra Boost got a pretty big price decrease. So, it's still super expensive. You're not going to get it in many normal circumstances, but that's a thing. I don't have Gwendolyn selected, but her Firestorm at level 16 got a big damage increase just to the dot damage. To regular balloons increase from 1 to 5, to Moabs from 10 to 15. Not super crazy, but actually, like, I mean, and it's not game-changing of a change, but actually a pretty big increase from what it was, so hopefully that's nice. Again, don't have Pat here, but his footprint size was increased from 7 to 8. Not a big change, he's about the same size as same size as Churchill now, but it'll maybe be a bit harder to fit things around him, which is kind of what we want because he's very strong, has been strong for a long time, and part of that was because he, fitting things near him to get his rallying roar off. Yeah. That's pretty much all there. Next one, Admiral Brickle. Again, don't have any other heroes here, but Admiral Brickle got a new level 7 ability. This is called Blast Chain, and the whole point of this is just to speed up the sea mines so they can all go off at once again. So there was a buff to Brickle a long time ago. Well, not super long, but kind of long now. It's been a while. It's been like two or three updates, something like that. Basically, there was a problem with her where all her sea mines would see one target, like a red balloon, come by, and they would all blow up on it, and they'd all be wasted. All your hard work gets setting up that big sea mine defense is just wasted on like one pink or red balloon or whatever. There was a delay put in here so they don't all go off at once, and that was good. Overall, it was a positive change to her. The problem was, when it comes to like rushes, like round 63, you did want them to go off all at once, and now they stopped, so you're kind of in trouble there. This ability allows you to just temporarily reverse that. You pop the ability, suddenly they all move super fast, and they're able to go all at once again. So you see a rush coming like round 63, around 78, you pop that, and then they all go off and wipe out that wave, and you're all good. It covers that new weakness that was added, so hopefully that helps her out. And finally, last hero change. May as well just head back to the menu here. Oh yeah, so we got a new hero menu. I forgot to mention, but I did show you purchasing Geraldo, so yeah, new hero menu. But yes, so Sai base price was increased from 800 to 1,000. Sai ended up being a lot better than most people expected, which I'm real happy about because I thought Sai was pretty good. But yeah, too good at kind of every part of the game. Mainly on expert maps. So Sai has the slowest leveling curve, and not the slowest, sorry, next to slowest. But that was a really kind of that was why most people didn't like them, because hard to get levels. But what it did was it pushed Sai to being very, very good at expert maps where the XP comes in faster for your heroes. And there was a kind of strategy pulled out there where people would use Energizer to level them up even faster. So yeah, in harder levels, Sai was just really good at every part of the game. So base price makes it a little bit harder to get them placed that early. Still, $200, not a huge change. The other nerf here was to Sai's level 10. So this is the one that half the balloons on screen, they're popped, and the other half are blown back to the start. The kind of thing that made this super strong was that it was insanely stally. So it was able to get its own cooldown back really fast without you having to struggle that much. To try and nerf this, there's been a kind of experimental change in here. Instead of nerfing the power, it instead just blows balloons back faster. Well, basically, the balloons that got blown back instead of being popped, they're now blown back twice as fast. So it still pops just as much, still blows back just as much, but it blows them back faster, which means they can start moving back towards you again faster, which is just like a little bit of a stall nerf there, which hopefully shouldn't be too big a deal. It doesn't stop the stall from the it doesn't stop you stalling from the actual pops, because you know how when Sai pops a balloon, it kind of stalls the game a bit. It doesn't stop that, so you still have that, but it means that you have to defend the things that were blown back a bit sooner. Whatever. So anyway, that is all that there is in this update. Really hope that you enjoy it. Try out the new boss. It's on a very easy map at the moment, so this is probably the best time to get a chance to beat it. I will say it's a very misleading boss. I've done a lot of testing on it, and basically the thing that you will notice once you've played it a lot compared to any other boss is it gives you a huge false impression of if you're doing well or doing poorly. Because if you're doing it, basically it jumps back when you hit the skulls, which is an interesting mechanic. It allows it to move a lot faster than any other boss. But what this means is, if you're doing really well, like you got your damage fine, you're hitting the skulls in no time, it'll just kind of sit at the entrance or something, right? And it feels really easy. It feels a lot easier than it actually is. But if you're doing poorly, then it really hits you hard. It'll sit there at the exit, and you'll just feel oppressed. It's constantly pushing against your exit. You push it back a little bit, and then it gets there again. You push it back, it gets there again, and all that time the balloons behind it are just speeding up. You got DDTs zooming across the map at like 5 times speed or something. You start feeling it when you're doing badly. So yeah, it feels a lot easier than normal when you're doing well. It feels a lot worse than normal when you're doing bad. So just do well, right? Anyway, I think it's a really fun boss, and I hope that you guys enjoy it too, and enjoy everything that there is in this update. Thanks for watching this super stupidly long video with me. I always try to get through them fast, but I suck at that, so I just talk too much, because I like balloons. Anyway, yep. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you around.